Hi, I'm Bianca Cotton, host of Behind the Confident Smile, where we inspire women to walk in love, live in hope, and be healed from past hurts. And today, I am sitting with Anna Sierra, founder, CEO, and commissioner of ASWBL. Welcome, Anna.
Thank you so much. I'm honored.
My pleasure. I've been waiting for this conversation.
It's long overdue.
Yes.
It is long overdue.
Yes.
So I'm super excited.
We are talking about your love for basketball and why you choose to use basketball as the way that you empower women and girls, right? Like through sports. So in that vein, when did you first fall in love with basketball?
You're taking me back, Bianca. Woo! Okay. I was 8 years old, Bianca, when I fell in love with basketball. I started, I'm from New York City originally, so if you can imagine that, growing up, big city, a lot of different ethnicities, people, Black, brown, everything. So, but I fell in love with the game at 8. It's funny, I used to tag along my older brother, Alex, and he was big sports. He played football, played basketball, played baseball, bowling, you name it. But basketball, a lot of times he should just go out. We lived in the Bronx, Boogie Down Bronx, still have that apartment in the Bronx currently. But yeah, that's when I fell in love with basketball. I was 8 years old. I would tag along. It was just something about it. And it was always boys. I used to always see boys. Me and my brother were 7 years apart, so he was a lot older. I would tag along all the time. He's like, sis, like, what's going on? I'm out with the guys, hooping, but it was just something about it. So he would go to the park right across the street. That's where I went to school at. My building in New York City was literally right across the street from my elementary school and also junior high school. And there was kind of like a recess area. And they had 2 hoops there. And I grew up like playing ball right across the street. I used to be a little tomboy and jump the gate. Just go over the gate and literally just watch them hoop. And everyone in the community, mostly guys, very seldom I seen girls, but the courts of the schoolyard were in between 2 parks. So a lot of the kids in the community or the older boys used to kind of just
gather.
Yeah, gather there. And then I used to just be at the gate. I used to watch my brother hooping. I'm like, man, I want to hoop. So that's where it started.
Wow. Tagging along with your older brother at 8. Something you said I want to dig more into. You said you mostly saw guys hooping. So what did that do for you? Like, okay, I'm a girl hopping the gate, watching them. I want to hoop too.
Yeah, so I think at that age, I didn't really understand too much of the, girls and boys in sport. Okay. Or in basketball, to be specific. I just wanted to play. Okay. And I was a little aggressive little girl, so it didn't faze me. It didn't faze me that I didn't see other girls. But that changed as time went along. I think when I started to understand, wait, girls are supposed to play with girls. I'm here playing with boys, but it didn't faze me at the time. I was always that, girl on the block, when they found out that I could play. At first it was like, oh, she's a girl.
But look at this girl
Look at this girl now, right? So at first it was one of those feelings. I remember vividly. I went out to the park that was not far from my home either. It's literally right around the corner. And this is before all the guys there knew that I could play as well. I was about 8 or 10 at this point now. And at first it was just like, you're a girl. Pretty much you can't play basketball. But as time progressed and I showed them that this girl could play basketball, they was like, Anna on my team. Right when I walked in the park, Anna on my team, Anna on my team. So that was a great feeling.
Yeah.
I guess at first it was a feeling of, yes, I can. Yes,
Because
I
no one
can.
told you you couldn't.
Exactly. Yes, I can, and though we were different genders, that didn't faze me. So, and I think I guess me playing basketball with the boys opened up some motivation, to be that girl that could hoop with the guys, So it was also some of that in there too.
So as you started to get on your first basketball team in school and move up the ranks, when did you realize, like, oh, I would like to play semi-pro or pro?
Oh, I guess when I started to understand the fundamentals of basketball. So this was just outside, right? And I definitely had to recognize a very influential and impactful coach, my coach Donald Jenkins, and also my junior high school coach, Michael Toon.
Okay.
So both of these coaches, Donald Jenkins, he worked as an after-school program in the elementary school where I would attend. And he saw me just random one day. I was just shooting around, playing with the boys. And he's the one that introduced me to the community in New York City, which I played a lot of basketball in Harlem. So AAU basketball. At this point, I was about maybe 10, 11 years old. And there was a Beacon program. It was called a Beacon program being held at my junior high school, MS 80. And the after school program, again, just gathered, excuse me, a lot of the, community kids, and I was one of them. So he invited me, and I started going there, and, we started to talk, kind of just develop those skills, fundamentals, and he gathered like a group of girls from like in the community, I guess, just seeing them randomly, playing. And that's when I kind of got introduced to organized basketball. So we would go there, we would shoot around, we would work on different skills, dribbling. We would listen to a lot of different lectures, about basketball. He saw something in me that I didn't see at that time.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm having an aha moment, like living in reverse through your story, knowing that now you host clinics and empowerment workshops for girls 8 to 18, and then you have the 18 plus crew that play ball. So hearing you, it all makes sense of how you strategically created your business.
Yes.
What it sounds like based off of your lived experiences from childhood.
Yes, Bianca. So aside from Donald Jenkins, right, he was my coach throughout AAU basketball in New York City. Michael Toon, he was my junior high school coach. And he was phenomenal as well. Both of those guys, end up knowing each other as well because they worked in the same school. But someone was there for me. And as I got older and time went along, I got better. Basketball became everything to me, right? I was a gym rat. I used to eat, sleep, drink basketball. It was just, everything was basketball. And, you touched on it, just that dream, wanting to be in the WNBA, wanting to create these opportunities further down the line, though that didn't come until, I say, after college. After college, that's when I really, I guess, dug into my purpose. And I went to, I I got a full ride for
Woo-woo.
basketball. Yep. Junior college.
We know that.
Yes, junior college. And then I was granted a scholarship as well to HBCU, West Virginia State University, Division II basketball. So that was quite the experience.
Wow.
So I'm grateful. But when I graduated with my business management degree, then made Chicago my home, that's when I tapped into that place where it's like, man, okay, I still want to play. I'm at my prime. I moved to Chicago. I was about 22, 23 years old. I've been here for about 13 years. And that's when it surfaced. I want to be able to give back to my community in some way, shape, or form. I didn't know in what way yet. But I knew that it had to be with girls and I guess my niche, which is basketball. And I wanted them to feel good. I wanted them to have a place to play, to feel seen, to feel peace, that sanctuary, the same place that it was for me. And I didn't see that here when I first got here to Chicago. It was super dry. Again, I was still in my prime. I wanted to hoop. So I did join a couple of semi-pro teams. One was the Steam and the other one was Starlights. At the time, that was the name. And we played semi-pro. We played several teams, out of town, things of that nature. And then I still play organized ball, but it was a part of me that wanted to start that work of being able to gather young girls, be able to have that outlet, like I mentioned, and create that unity in the community. So that's when it started. Well, I take that back. I played for quite a few years, Bianca, and then 2015, that's when ASWBO was established. And it originally started with the Pro-Am, the annual Pro-Am, which is 18 and over women, all local. I call it a melting pot now, because there's local women that have had high school stardom here in Chicago. There's women that have played overseas and are from Chicago and, come back home and want to play and still, be in good conditioning shape to go back. There's women that were very seasoned and experienced hoopers, but never had a chance to really get out of the city to go play for whatever reasons. We all have different obligations, but we also have a lot of mothers. Mothers, became mothers early age and had a different responsibility, but they could hoop, right? So that's why I call it a melting pot now, because it's just like we're all kind of meshed together and we all have different career paths off the court as well, and some of their careers are on the court. So we all kind of just, learn from each other, empower each other, and share our stories. And I guess the most important part is creating that fellowship.
Hi, I'm Darius Hillman. Joining me on the next edition of In the Arena, the board president of Emmaus, Clarence Booth.
Sometimes God doesn't necessarily pull you back, but he says, you decided this path, so I'm going to let you do that. And then once you exhaust yourself, then I'll step in.
Join the conversation Tuesday at 7 p.m. on CAN TV Cable Channel 19 and streaming on cantv.org and the CAN TV Plus app. Experience the power of community television.
I want to take a couple of steps back to the creation of Anna Sierra Women's Basketball League. One, when I first met you, I was like, oh, she named it after herself. That's dope.
There was a strategic part to that.
Right.
I'm going to share that with you.
But I was like, oh, I'm encouraged by that. And then me bringing my daughter to a game. And at the time, I think she was 5 years old. And she was just so inspired. by seeing these women playing basketball. And she was like, when are we going back? And so I can definitely see how seeing women and girls playing the sport that normally we see men on TV playing, like highlighting the
Yes.
woman playing, really inspired her. So I want to know from you, when did you decide, when and why, right? You talked a little bit about it, decide to create this thing to be a container for others. And did you start out doing it full time? Was it part time? Like, bring us into your entrepreneurial journey.
Sure, Bianca. So great question, because, man, this is bringing back a lot of great memories. And, you know, they always say, remember your why, right? So you're taking me back there, and thank you for that. So the why part and why it was created. So I remember literally, like, when I first started this, it wasn't a dream. It wasn't. It was just, I guess, the passion that I had to want to play and still play, and not seeing that happening in my own community. And I grew up in New York City where I had those spaces, thankfully, to some of the coaches, you know, that were able to coach me, but not seeing that now as a young lady, young adult. And a city where I know it's a big basketball city, but it was being dominated by men's basketball, right? So I was just so surprised that it was not taking place for the women and the girls. I became friends with a lot of the women that had stardom in Marshall, had stardom in, you know, different high schools here in the city. And we became friends. So I knew the potential was here and sitting right in our own backyard, but there was no one really, I guess, taking that ownership on creating those spaces for women. So I remember vividly us calling each other, and when I say us, the girls, the athletes, the women, you know, that were sticking together, you know, hey, there's open gym at so-and-so. There's open gym at so-and-so. Pull up, you know, come, a couple hours, we're going to be hooping. So we started to create, I guess, that culture without even knowing it. And then just a part of me was just like, man, 2015, I'm having a league. I'm having Anna Sierra Women's Basketball League. And I'll go back to saying it wasn't a dream. It wasn't something that I thought would turn into something so big and be so meaningful to the city, you know, and globally. It was really just something inside of me that just felt like, man, we need to take space. You know, women athletes, not just basketball, but just women in general, in whatever industry we're in, we need to take up space. And at that point, I was just so determined to, you know, just pretty much create this, you know, in my city where I call my second home. So 2015, September, that was our first season. It took place on the west side of Chicago at JLM, Johnny Miller Church. And when I tell you the turnout was out the roof, I was just like, wow. So the potential that I felt inside and the need, it was now being presented, you know, where the eyes can see. And so many people came out, and it was just great. It was a great environment. And, you know, I guess all the bad things we hear about Chicago, right? And, you know, the stigmas and, you know, of course, everywhere has a place. But like to create something like that on the west side of Chicago where they say, oh man, be careful
made
when
a
you walk
statement.
outside, be careful when you get in your car, be careful. And just to have the entire community come out, it just felt great. It felt amazing. And I guess not just for me, but that I was making an impact, you know, on other people's lives. Even down to the audience, you know, just coming out to like cheer their loved ones on. And a lot of these ladies, Bianca, they didn't, you know, again, if they do go overseas, you know, we're streaming their games. Their family members, loved ones are watching their games, streaming their games. So it feels good to have something local where your family could kind of pull up and
cheer
you know, cheer you on and, you know, see what you about, right? So, but go back to the question, it became a dream. It became a dream, you know, as time went along. It wasn't something I said, oh yeah, I'm going to Chicago and I'm gonna have, you know, one of these elite, you know, leagues. No, it wasn't like that, to be quite frank with you. It's something that just continue to build, and it's an ongoing project. I'm not done.
No, of course not. Of course not.
I'm not done. So it's been an ongoing project, but a very fulfilling and purposeful one.
If you could go back to the 8-year-old,
Yes.
you, and talk to the 8-year-old Anna about the now Anna, what would you say to her?
I'm so proud of you, Anna. I've been through so much, Bianca, you know. When we go back to, trying not to get emotional here. But I would say I'm so proud of you. Like, I'm so proud of you, Anna. Like, who knew that you'd be able to be who you are? You know, and growing up, we didn't have a lot. You know, my mom, my dad, they came, they were immigrants, right? My background, my parents' background, we're from the Dominican Republic, so I'm representing for the Latinas and my brown and black community, right?
Yeah.
So they came and they came with nothing. They started from scratch. So, you know, I think about my childhood and it's just like, man, my eight-year-old, and now, you know, where I am, you know, path and all the places I've touched, all the people I've come across.
Jordan Brand.
Jordan Brand, when I tell you, Bianca.
All of the publicity and the connections that you have garnered from a dream that wasn't a dream.
Oh my God. It's surreal. It really is. When you bring up the Jordan Brand, that's been a very, very, you know, big accomplishment, but ASWBL in itself, right? Because I've been recognized by the Jordan Brand because of my work in the community and, you know, empowering girls on and off the basketball court. But when I tell you, when I saw Jordan coming, I was so excited. I used to cop the J's faithfully at about 10 years old. Of course, not me, but you know, my dad, my mom, they did what they could to put them on my feet. But when I say a full circle moment, you know, at the, you know, mid-30s, to feel that feeling like, wow, I'm being seen. Yes, it's a really surreal still to this day. So, and humbling as well. I always say there's still a lot of work to be done.
Definitely.
A lot of work to be done. But I'm happy and grateful to be a voice for girls and women in the basketball industry, but again, on and off the basketball court. Because there's so much more of us off the court as well. So I'm here representing for those ladies as well, making sure those things are being talked about at the round table.
So when you mention there's so much more work to be done. What is one aspect of the work that needs to be done?
Number one, I feel like more for girls and women. More places that they can call home, or place that, you know, they can feel like it's an outlet for them. It doesn't have to be basketball only. For me, that's what, you know, that's my passion. That's what worked. But we do a lot of things outside of basketball too. We do a lot of mentoring, mentorship, so different activities, right? Self-esteem, self-awareness,
Confidence,
building confidence, right? You don't only have to have that on the court, you have to have that off the court. So we do a lot of different activities with the young girls, not just, you know, the basketball court. I feel like it's imperative for them to know who they are, you know, before they step foot on that court. So character development is big. And that's one of the things we also focus on in our mentorship programs, and having a good time, right? Them having fun. And real quick, I mean, I love that your daughter came to see what ASWBL was all about. I think that's when our relationship grew significantly, and I thank you for doing the work that you're doing, and even for your, you know, your own family as well. But that just brightened up my day when I seen her coming through, you know, and the fact that you shared that she felt so empowered. It just shows me and my team that we're doing something right with ASWBL.
So beautiful. As we wrap up our conversation, I like to ask this question. What is one word you want to share with another 8-year-old girl who might be looking at this interview with her mother?
One. I can only choose one, huh? I can only choose one, huh, Bianca?
For today.
Be relentless.
Be relentless. Okay. The 8-year-old that's looking at this, remember to be relentless. Anna, thank you. Thank you for becoming a dream, for living in a dream, and choosing to step into a space that needed to be created and formed. So thank you.
Thank you, Bianca, for having me and allowing me to share my story and creating this platform for myself and other women to be present. So thank you so much. And please, everyone follow ASWBL on Instagram. And thank you again.
My pleasure. Thank you all for tuning in.